Conceive, believe, achieve.
This is former UFC middleweight champion of the world, Michael Bisping.
Paddy the Baddy here. You're listening to Combat Sports UK.
And you're watching Combat Sports UK.
Hello, I'm Scott Bogie, here with Wesley Schultz, ahead of your fight against Mansur Abdul-Malik. How are you doing today?
Pretty good. How about yourself?
I'm doing good, thank you very much. And this fight is obviously on the first week of Dana White's Contender Series. How do you feel about having the chance of getting that UFC contract?
I love it. I'm jacked up. I'm pumped up. It's the first week, too. So hopefully I can get a win and then get a fight in by the end of the year.
Exactly. And do you feel like due to this being the first week, there's a lot more contracts to be handed out?
Yeah. Well, shit. I don't know. It kind of depends. Maybe they'll hand out more in the later weeks if the first, 5 or 6 kind of blow. But, yeah, you never know.
Because from just looking at the previous years, he does kind of hand out more at the beginning, and then later on when the contracts are handed out, because it seems like he does have a number of contracts he wants to hand out in the whole season.
Well, I'm fucking pumped up about that then.
Exactly.
It's news to me, but it's good news.
I'm pretty sure, I think these are last year, I think everyone who got the win on the first week got contracts.
Yeah, that's actually good to know.
And obviously you're fighting an undefeated fighter. However, do you feel like you have the edge here because you've got more fights than him? You've gone to a decision once, you've gone to a second round. He's just been getting his opponents out in the first round. So do you feel like that extra cage time has helped you out?
Yeah, I've gone to decision twice, actually, and that's huge. So this time going to decision, you leave the cage thinking holy fuck. Even an amateur wrestling match goes 7 minutes, unless there's overtime, and you feel fucking exhausted after that. And so it seems daunting at first, but fighting is a different sport, so it is doable. But yeah, I haven't added my cage time together, but between amateur and pro fights, it's got to be quite a few times more minutes of cage time than he has. Yeah, I mean he gets fucking quick finishes, which is good on him, but I don't think he's really met resistance yet.
And do you feel like him getting these quick finishes, that does kind of, gonna say, gives you a little bit of a disadvantage because there's not as much tape on him?
Yeah, no, that is certainly one thing that's came up. I haven't really been able to find too many of his fights in general, but and then you find one that's fucking over fast. So it's what does this guy like to do? I'm not sure.
And obviously you have been fighting in LFA for your entire career apart from one pro fight. I think that was in Pure FC.
Yeah, there was one in Griggs Entertainment down in Indiana as well. But besides that, it's all LFA.
Yeah. And how has that been for you? Because obviously LFA is a major organization. Do you feel like that has helped you have the step up?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it helps having all my fights on Fight Pass. The production is wonderful. It looks legit. Most other organizations that don't have those resources, it'll kind of look like the fight posters will kind of be grainy and shitty looking, which is fine. The video doesn't look great, but LFA looks fucking it looks quality. All that. They got good commentators, a good team doing that. It's organized. I never had any problems fighting with them.
And how does the contract work with the Dana White Contender Series? Because obviously that is a one-fight contract. Are you still contracted with LFA currently, or do you have to try and renegotiate afterwards?
All of my fights with LFA was one-fight contracts. You can do 3-fight contracts, but technically anything under PFL, Bellator, UFC is considered regional still, and I think for the most part, any regional promotion you don't really want to be locked in with. I mean, obviously they'll almost all let you go to go to the bigger promotions, but you never know who they're gonna want you to fight, and just depending on what you need in your career, it's smart to just be open with your regional scene.
Yeah. And how has your training camp been so far for this fight?
Man, it's been great. I'm just putting the finishing touches on now. I think I'm maybe like 13 days out.
Yeah.
So probably like one, kind of hardish week left, and then just recover and make weight, which is really no problem for me. I make it no big deal.
And obviously, your last fight was a first round finish. What have you learned from that fight against Benson?
Well, I mean, I was just kind of staying patient, staying in the position I wanted to be in until I saw an opportunity to finish, and then happened, which, smelling blood's a good thing, but, some people do it too early and get caught, tire themselves out. And I just think just being patient and waiting for the right time was something that I showed I know how to do.
And when you're in that cage, obviously you're fully focused on that fight. Can you see when the fighter is getting breaking down and you can see the finish coming? Or is it just a case of just executing the game?
Yeah, I feel you usually hear it. As dumb as it sounds, we're going like they're saying like ow and shit like that. Or like if you have a sub and they start gurgling or something, or they start like biting on feints really hard, kind of like covering up if you come in with feints. It's like, oh, I fucking got you. I have you fucking Pavloved with my hands.
Yeah. And throughout your whole career, you came up and in the wrestling section of the MMA. How has that wrestling background been beneficial for you?
This is a good place to start. It's nice having somewhere you can like something you can rely on.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Especially branching out into striking. I feel like I can throw more dangerous strikes because if I get taken down, I don't really give a shit. I'm pretty good at getting back up. It's not like I'm an amazing jiu-jitsu guy, but I'm good at getting back to my feet, and I'm good at making top time count. So, yeah, no, I think it allows me to be not reckless on my feet, but a little more.
It's always good to come back on, fall back on.
Yeah, I don't have to drop my hands at every little takedown and get fucking jacked with an overhand, which you see that a lot. And I mean,
and if I'm not mistaken, I feel like there was a famous wrestler with the surname Schultz. Do you get compared to him a lot, or
is he in Westchester? You said
no. There's a famous wrestler.
Oh yeah, no, fuck no. Dave Schultz was a killer. Not at all. Schultz is a really common name in the Midwest. A bunch of like German heritage. You get a lot of like Shriners, Schultzes, fucking Schusters, all shit like that. Schnitzels, whatever.
And speaking a bit more about that wrestling background, when you were doing that wrestling growing up, did you know that one day you would eventually move it into the MMA section, or did it just come
I would have
about?
done it sooner. Wrestling fucking sucks, man. Wrestling fucking sucks. Like, man, it's way more grindy, way more grindy. Like, man, after wrestling practice, your joints are aching and stuff. The moveset's so like much more restricted.
Yeah.
So, like, I don't know. It's hard for me to explain, but part of the reason I've been able to just do mixed martial arts is because I think it's easier on your body, and it's possible to do year round, way easier. Versus in wrestling, I loved having my summers off, just able to heal and get back to feeling decent before the grind of the season again.
Exactly. And obviously, you had a very good amateur career. You then moved to being a professional. What was it when you first became a professional? Tell me a bit more about those first two fights. Because I know the first one was at heavyweight, and then the second one was light heavyweight.
Yeah. Well, the first one, I think we were just looking for really any pro fight, just get my feet wet. Try out. You don't want to take the toughest first few pro fights because new rule set. You want to get in there. You want to throw some elbows, throw some knees to the head, get used to defending them, which I did nothing of my first I went in, took him down right away. Dude had really big hands. I did not want to get hit.
Yeah.
I get big ass hands. He's like triple XL gloves. I was like, fuck this. I am heavyweight. Like I'm not small heavyweight, but a heavyweight.
Yeah.
And then my next one was it was at light heavyweight because it was on like day of. Like I got to call it like 11, 12. Like, we might have something for you. So I drove up to this town about an hour north of Milwaukee where I live. And that was with LFA. That's kind of what got me in with LFA. And probably about three, this dude's manager, who's his guy's fight had fallen out that day. He looked at me on the scale. I was like 200. His guy was 201 at that time, even though he weighed in at middleweight the day prior, which is I'd say that's pretty normal weight gain. And he's like, yeah, fuck it. We flew from Oregon. We're taking it. And then I ended up winning that fight. And yeah.
So really what you're saying is in that second fight, you kind of did the Dan Ige, except you got the victory.
Yeah. Yep. That's exactly it.
And how great does it feel when you are able to come in on that late notice and come out and get the victory? Because obviously you don't have that time to prepare.
Yeah, no, that's kind of ideal. I mean, unless you're really out of it, but like I go to practice every day. Like I'm never exactly like out of I'm never really coming off the couch.
Yeah.
Unless you catch me after like a big long camping trip or something. I'm crawling out of the woods. But yeah, even like when like people say like you need like 8-week fight camp, like I really don't. Like,
yeah.
Like I'll turn it up for a bit, but I never got like a gut to lose or something, which some people fucking do. Like some people do not train unless they have a fight booked. And I think the 8-10 week training camp, I think that's more for those guys because the first 5 weeks you fucking get into shape.
And obviously the Contender Series fight, what was your reaction when you found out that you were getting this opportunity?
I was pumped up. Although that was way back in April, I think. So I was thinking like, oh man, I gotta think about this the next 4 months. Anytime I had a barbecue eating a hot dog or something, you're thinking, motherfucker, I got a fight on the horizon. Which you always have your next one, but it's different when it's scheduled. That's always kind of in the back of your mind.
And is that normal from when you normally hear from the fight, or was this a bit earlier than what you normally hear?
Yeah, that's a lot earlier than what I normally hear. So I mean, it was nice. Like anything I wanted to do in the summer, I just was thinking, okay, get it done 8-10 weeks before August 13th. You know what I mean?
Yeah. And you're not just on the Contender Series, you are also the main event as well. So you are the biggest fight on there.
Yeah, that's sweet. I didn't even know about that until probably 2 or 3 weeks ago. I was bartending and I was getting texts from a bunch of people. Hey, I saw you on the Contender Series, which I couldn't even talk about it at that point because it wasn't announced. And then I was getting pictures of the card. I was like, "Am I the main event?"
And are you still? I know you've already had quite a few fights in LFA. Do you still follow them? I know they've got a card coming up this weekend.
Yeah, no, I follow them on social media and stuff, and my teammates all fight for them.
Yeah.
On and off because like pretty much most of the gym does one fight contracts for the regional scene. So most of my teammates have had fights on LFA. So some have scheduled with them currently that are coming up here in August and September. So yeah, I do. I don't watch all the cards because I'm always working Friday, Saturday nights. I used to when I worked like an office job. It was nice. I'd get home from work, go work out, watch at least a few fights on the LFA card, and then I'd be able to watch the whole UFC card on Saturday. And now I can't watch any of the regional fights that happen on Friday. And I get out of my job at I think 10 to 11 my time. And I sprint down to the pub, pay my $10 to get in, get a soda water. I can't fucking drink. I'm in camp. Get a soda water or like a fucking Diet Coke or something, and catch the last. And usually it's like I get for the feature fight, and then I can watch the main event. And that's what I did on Saturday with fucking Leon and Bilal.
Yeah, and what did you make of the UFC in Manchester?
Man, that was awesome. Man, the fucking crowd was going wild. I like that fucking main event. I thought that was awesome clinic by Bilal, but Leon did look out of it. He looked out of it like round one.
And what did you make of the UFC start time? Because here in the UK, lots of people were criticizing it because obviously it was fitted towards the American time, because the main event here was like 5, 6 o'clock in the morning.
Yeah, if they ever do, if I ever have to fight like that, where it's well, I'll be fighting at like 3, 4 a.m. Like I don't even know how you train for that. You go on a bender the week before. Like
I hear that
you
they
just stay up till 7 every day of the week before. Like what's going on?
I hear they were people were saying that they were having to train earlier on. So they were training at 3, 4, 5 in the morning.
Is that early or late?
Early.
That's
So
I feel like it's
um
late for me.
so 3 a.m. in the morning.
Okay. Like do they get up and train? I feel like I would just stay up till 3 and go train.
Yeah, so you could either just stay up, train, or you could go to sleep,
Yeah.
wake up early, and then train.
Yeah, I'd be fucked. Uh, I've never even really thought about that. Or
And
even, I guess I've never even thought about doing like more Apex shows. I
yeah,
kind of like fighting in front of a crowd. I kind of assumed that's what would happen if I won this one. But damn, I guess they could put me on a fucking Apex show if I won this. It's gonna be a bummer.
and
Crowds are the
obviously,
best.
you could get into that UFC. So who are you wanting your first fight to be with? I know you're in the middleweight division, so is there any middleweight you want to call out?
I don't I don't think anyone knows the fucking middleweight division, to be honest. Like I think anyone outside the top 10 to 15, who I definitely don't want to fucking top 10 to 15 first. But unless it's like a last minute thing, which
Yeah.
but yeah, I don't even really follow it that closely. You could have maybe asked me like 2, 3 years ago, but ever since I've been working Friday, Saturdays, like I don't catch enough of the
Yeah.
prelims.
Yeah, exactly. And do you feel like your nickname is going to be you after this fight? I know your nickname is Party Time.
Fuck yeah.
I don't think you'll be ordering a Diet Coke after after this
Oh
victory.
no, not just a Diet Coke at least.
And remember you saying earlier on that you are looking to fight one more time before the end of the year once you
Yeah.
get signed. Is there any time that you're wanting to get on? Like, do you want to have some time off and then come back maybe December time? Or just
Before the third weekend of November. That's deer hunting season here in Wisconsin. And that is a holiday of its own, and I do not miss that for anything. For no reason, no man, no nothing. It's I think there's a wedding I'm supposed to go to. Opening day of deer season. And that is one wedding I will not be at.
Exactly. Well, I wish you the best of luck for the Contender Series fight, and hopefully you are able to get that contract from Dana White and will be able to speak ahead of your first UFC fight. I'll let you have the final word. Is there anyone you're wanting to shout out?
Shout out to my training partners, Nick Klein, Brian Sullivan, Dylan Diebitz, and Andrew Henschel. They've sacrificed a lot of time with the families, time they could be doing anything else to help me out in the gym. And I will reciprocate that when they all get fights booked, which I think they're all starting to now. Things are heating up at the gym. It's a good time. All right. Well, thank you for having me.
No worries, and good luck for your fight.
Absolutely.